Jun-pyo didn't want to believe that Irene was a thief. Although the information he had gathered showed she had been accused of theft many times by her family, he knew how families like that worked, so he didn't want to hold on to that. However, the look on her face at this point left him unsure of what to believe. It wasn't possible for her to be the one who stole from him because the CCTV footage of last night had been wiped off. The first thing he did was to check the CCTV room when he realized his jade necklace was missing. It was the only thing he had left of his mother, the only thing that reminded him of her. The fact that the footage had been wiped off showed that whoever stole from him was someone who knew his house perfectly. Irene had just turned 18 and was the youngest person in his house. So how could she have stolen that bracelet when she didn't really know how everything worked in the house? Seeing that Irene was quiet, he became worried as he desperately hoped that she had nothing to do with the theft. "Tell me, Irene," he demanded. "Did you go snooping around my room?" "I didn't go snooping," Irene said. I did go to your room, but I changed my mind and went back." "You came to my room but changed your mind and went back? What are you saying?" Jun-pyo asked. Irene explained. "When Miss Young took me shopping, I got a gift. It's a small box with a space inside to leave a note. It's for showing appreciation. Last night, when I came back, I felt very grateful because of what you did for me, and I wrote a few words in there. It was just to express my gratitude because I was very happy. It didn't occur to me that it was very late, and I went to your room to knock. But before I could, I noticed the wall clock and realized that it was late, and you probably were asleep. I didn't want to offend you, so I went back to my room. That is all. I never entered your room. I will never steal from you, sir." "Okay, this gift you speak about, where is it?" Jun-pyo inquired. "It's in my room," Irene replied. "Where in your room is it?" he asked. "The second drawer," Irene said. "Me-son, go with her and get it," Jun-pyo said, pointing at his housekeeper. The housekeeper went with Irene, and the latter quickly got into her room, opened a drawer, took out the small box, and came out. It was a small glass box with a red ribbon tied around it. Irene handed it to Jun-pyo, and he took it from her. He opened it and saw a small note inside, and he recognized what he believed was her handwriting. The words read, "You became a light in my darkest hour. Thank you very much, sir. May the odds always be in your favor." It was merely a simple gesture, but those words made his heart feel warm and happy. However, he focused on the situation at hand. "All right then, who stole my jade necklace?" "I believe it wasn't Irene," he said to everyone. "The officers will be here anytime soon. I expect the culprit to tell me the truth. Once they arrive, I will show no mercy." Everyone kept quiet until the officers finally arrived. Jun-pyo instructed, "Search every single one of them, their bodies as well as their rooms." There were 3 male and 2 female officers, and they quickly began to work. Even the butler presented himself to be searched. Jun-pyo told the officers while pointing at Irene, "Do not search her, she's not the one." Irene stared at him in surprise and said, "Thank you, sir, for your trust in me." "It's nothing," he said. "I know that you won't steal from me." After searching everyone, the officers went into the rooms and searched them thoroughly, one after the other, but they still could not find the jade necklace. About 30 minutes later, the officers all came out, and the one taking the lead said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Jun-pyo, but we couldn't find it in any of the rooms. It's either whoever stole it has taken it away from the house, or it was stolen by someone you do not expect." As the officer spoke, his eyes went to where Irene was standing, and it became very clear to Jun-pyo that the officer was suspecting her. The moment she understood what the officer was saying, the housekeeper said, "Yes, it has to be Irene. I mean, they've searched everyone, and if it's no one else, it has to be her." "No, don't say such things," Sua said, countering Mi-sun. "It can't be Irene. She's such a nice girl. Please stop accusing her. I believe that Irene will never do something so bad." It's fine, Irene said. I'll feel at ease if you all search my room. I have nothing to hide. You won't find the necklace there because I'm not a thief. Jun-pyo said, Okay, giving the officers the go-ahead. They went into Irene's room and began to search for the jade necklace. About 5 minutes later, the officers came out, and they showed the necklace to Jun-pyo. Here it is, we found it in her room. Jun-pyo received the necklace from the officer, staring at it in surprise. He turned to stare at Irene, who had a shocked expression on her face and tears in her eyes. She could not believe what was happening. You're under arrest, the officer said, taking out his handcuffs. No, hold on, Jun-pyo stopped him. The housekeeper at this point said, Oh no, how are we going to feel at ease if we're living with a thief in the house? This is really scary. It has never happened. No one has ever stolen here. Silence, Jun-pyo ordered, shutting her up. He stared at Irene and said, I'm going to ask you, Irene, do not lie to me. Did you take this necklace? No, I did not take it, Irene replied as tears fell from her eyes. What reason could I possibly have to steal from you, Mr. Jun-pyo? What would I want to do with this necklace? Sell it for money? That is not what I want. Nothing else matters more to me than achieving my dreams. Thanks to you, someday my dreams will get fulfilled, so why would I ruin that by going to steal from you? After hearing Irene's words, Jun-pyo stared at everyone and said, You can all leave, go back to your work. Turning to the officers, he said, Let her be. You can all go for now. The officers all left, and Jun-pyo took one last look at Irene before walking out angrily. After he left, the chef, Suwa, came over and hugged Irene. Tapping her back comfortingly, she said, Come on, don't cry anymore. I trust you. I know that you don't have a reason to steal. No matter what anyone says, you can be sure that there's someone who trusts you, and that's me. You're not a thief, Irene, and from today, you can consider me your friend. Irene looked at her and said, Thank you so much. Afterward, she turned and ran into her room. She threw herself on the bed and curled her body into a ball, crying hysterically. 1 hour later, Irene stopped crying and thought about what the future held for her. No matter how she thought about it, someone must have set her up. The jade necklace could not have miraculously ended up in her room, since she knew that she never took it. It had to be one of the maids. Who else could it be? The one person she held as a suspect was the housekeeper. She was the only one who hated her enough to plot something so big. However, she couldn't point her finger at her because she had no evidence. It would seem as though she was trying to push the blame for her crime onto someone innocent. What hurt her the most was the way Jun-pyo had stared at her, as though she was a thief. He had shown trust in her just a few minutes ago, but now everything was ruined. She tried to focus her mind on other things because she didn't want to keep crying. She suddenly remembered that the judges of the event she performed at the previous night had said they'd send a reply to her the next day. She had filled out her email information on the form that was given to her, as well as every available means of contact. But then she wasn't with her phone. It was still in her father's house. She had promised that she was going to get it, and she didn't want to let the situation at hand stop her from doing so. She quickly showered and changed into different clothes before walking out of her room. The moment she got close to the door, the housekeeper ran after her and said, Hey, where do you think you're going to? What? Am I not allowed to leave? Irene asked. No, you're not allowed to leave. Everyone knows you're a thief. You stole from the hand that fed you, and now you want to run away. This must be what you're planning to do, and once you run away, Mr. Jun-pyo will never be able to catch you, Mi-sun said accusingly. Irene shook her head and replied firmly, No, I'll never run away no matter what, because I'm innocent. I just need to go back home and get my phone. The housekeeper still wanted to insist on her staying, but the butler intervened, saying, Let her be, Mi-sun. If she wants to go, she's free to do so. No one can hide from Mr. Jun-pyo. Thank you, Irene said to him. Afterward, she walked away. After he left the house, Jun-pyo cursed under his breath while in his car. He thought back to when Irene had cried and balled his fist. It had affected him, but he tried not to show it. Taking out his phone, he called someone and said, "I need you to recover something for me. An important piece of footage was deleted from my CCTV. Can you recover it?" "Of course I can. Just let me have the details." The person replied. Jun-pyo forwarded all the necessary information to the man and waited for him to get back to him. After driving around for a while, he stopped by a mall, bought a few things, and went back home. The moment he entered the house, he asked of Irene, and the butler told him that she had left. "She left? What do you mean? Did she leave permanently?" Jun-pyo became afraid that Irene would not want to have anything to do with him anymore or work in his house since she had been accused of theft. "She said she was going back home to get something. That was what she told me," the butler explained. "Oh, I see," Jun-pyo replied. He turned around and left the house. He knew the address of her former house and wanted to confirm that she had really gone there, so he drove out of the estate. When Irene arrived home, she stood outside for a while contemplating how she was going to approach them. She soon made up her mind and knocked on the door. Jane was the one who opened the door, and the moment she saw Irene, she yelled at her. "What is a thief like you looking for here? Have you come back to steal more?" Staring at Irene's clothes got her even more upset because she could see that there were branded clothes. She was putting on clothes from Dior, which was in the same league as the kind of clothes she wore. "I'm here for my things," Irene replied boldly. "My phone, my bag, my clothes, everything. My mom's things are also here," she added. "Whatever you think belongs to you is no longer here. It has been thrown in the trash," Jane retorted. "You can't say that," Irene roared. "Why would you throw everything that belongs to me? Let me have my things and stop being so evil." As she spoke, a slap landed on her cheek. "I can see that you've not yet learned your lesson yet." Jane seethed. Dae-young also came out asking, "What is going on here?" The moment he saw Irene, his mood changed into a sour one, recalling how she had outshone Min-ji during the performance last night. He sneered. "What do you want? What do you think you're doing here? Get out of my house." "I won't leave without my things," Irene replied. At this point, Min-ji heard the commotion and also came out. The moment she saw Irene, she was filled with so much rage and jealousy, especially because Irene looked so beautiful despite being kicked out of the house. She had hoped that Irene would become destitute, roaming the streets and begging to survive, but to think that she was actually able to compete with her was something she couldn't get over. She rushed forward and tried to slap Irene, but the latter held her hand and pushed her back. At this point, Jun-pyo, who had just driven into the estate, witnessed this scene from a distance and balled his fists. Min-ji lunged at Irene again, and this time, Irene pushed her so hard that she fell on her butt. She cried out in pain, but Irene couldn't be bothered with her as she turned her attention to Dae-young and Jane. This seemed to upset Dae-young and Jane so much so that they both held her by her shoulders and pushed her away from the house. Irene lost her balance and fell on her back while they ran back to Min-ji, who was still on the ground, and helped her up before taking her into the house. Irene remained on the floor, tears pouring from her eyes. From where he sat, Jun-pyo felt visibly angry. His hands clutched the steering wheel as he struggled to control his emotions. Seeing the way Irene was being treated annoyed him so much that he said to himself, "Mr. and Mrs. Park, I'll teach you both a lesson. Nobody treats Irene this way and gets away with it. She's under my wing now." After sitting on the ground for a while, Irene finally got up and wiped her tears. She noticed she had gotten a slight injury on her arm, but that was the least of her problems. She needed to get back to Jun-pyo estate as soon as possible. She had thought that she would be able to get the things that belonged to her, but it was more important that she got back before Jun-pyo did. Otherwise, he'd really think that she was trying to run away. When he saw that Irene was leaving, Jun-pyo reversed his car and moved even backward so she wouldn't notice him. When she finally got a cab, he followed the cab, seeing where she would go, but she stopped in front of his estate. As she came out, she paid the driver with the little money she had and walked toward the gate, but they wouldn't let her in. "I stay here," she said to the men at the post. They said, "No, this is Hanam-dong Estate, not for people like you." She insisted, "I stay here. I'm one of the maids of Mr. Jun-pyo." "You are? Okay, let me call him," one of the men said. They instantly called Jun-pyo, whose car was now parked a little distance away from where Irene was. When he answered the call, the man in question asked him if Irene lived with him, and he said, "Yes." Afterward, she was allowed to pass. Her eyes had become even more puffy, as though she had not slept in days. She walked back into the house feeling dejected. Jun-pyo finally drove to his villa, but he had called the same police officers to come again. The moment Irene entered the house, he followed behind, and she was surprised. She turned and stared at him. "Sir?" She felt relieved because she had returned when she did. Jun-pyo may have been very upset if he came back before her. Jun-pyo barely said a word to her and went to sit down. He asked the butler to send for all the staff to come to him, and when they did, he said, "I have made up my mind that the person who stole from me must be punished. No matter what happens, I can't let a thief who stole from me walk freely." Hearing this, Irene's heart began to beat very fast, as she thought that he wanted her to be punished since all evidence pointed to her. The officers from earlier finally walked into the house, and staring at them, Jun-pyo ordered, "Arrest the thief and do not show any mercy." Irene shook her head. "No, sir, I didn't do it. I promise you, I didn't do it." She ran to Jun-pyo, who was sitting, and went on her knees. "Please, sir, I'm telling you the truth. I didn't take your necklace. I don't know who put it there. It wasn't me, please believe me." After Irene left, Minji went back into the house with her parents. Her mom said, "Just imagine this Irene. She's so fearless. How dare she come here and try to speak at the top of her voice? This is what I've been going through in her hands." Dae-young shook his head. "I can't believe how insolent she is. It's a good thing I threw her out. If I hadn't stopped by to pick up something, I wouldn't have known that she could speak so disrespectfully." "That's how she is, Dad," Minji replied. "But, Dad, did you see that Irene also performed at the Star Girls show? I mean, for some reason, she was suddenly among the Star Girls. Normally, STSR girls are only 4, and one is picked out as the best at the end. But she came out of nowhere, and for the first time, the Star Girls were 5. Dad, I don't want Irene to beat me." Her mom scoffed. "How will she beat you? You're more beautiful and more talented. You'll surely win over her." "I know that when it comes to talent, I'm much better than Irene," Minji said. "But didn't you see that she performed the last song at the show? That's only given to artists who have already signed with the agency. It wasn't supposed to be Irene, but she did it, and everyone was cheering for her. The video is all over the internet. I feel that Irene is connected to some big shot. Maybe she's sleeping with one of those judges. You never can tell. Who is Irene? Who even led her into that building? Think about it." Her mom nodded. "She has a point, honey. I thought about it too. How did Irene even end up there?" Dae-young thought for a moment and said, "That doesn't surprise me. Her mom was also immoral, so she must have taken after her. But I'm not going to let her beat you. That will not happen, hold on." Taking out his phone, he called someone and said, "I'm sure you must have watched the performance of the Star Girls, isn't it?" The person on the other end of the phone said, "Yes, I did. I was there." "Okay, you saw that my daughter did very well. Please, I want her to be the final candidate, and, I'll compensate you immensely." "Consider it done," the person on the other end replied. After the call ended, he smiled and said, "It's taken care of. Don't worry, princess. Haven't I promised you that you're going to be a star? I will make sure it happens, and I'll also see to it that you attend the best music academy in the country." "Thank you, Dad," Minji said excitedly. "Well, now I can start perfecting my song for the final performance. I think I'm going to do well. I'll make you both proud." They both smiled and stared at her as she ran excitedly to her room. Irene remained on her knees, staring at Jun-pyo as she desperately hoped for him to believe her. He got up, his hands went under her arms, and he gently helped her up. Since Jun-pyo did not say anything, Irene's expression still carried fear, and she began to sweat. However, at this point, the police officers walked over to Suwa and put handcuffs around her wrists. Irene turned and stared at the police in surprise. "No, this cannot be," she thought. "How could?" Jun-pyo said, "How dare you? What did you think? That you'd steal from me and accuse someone else?" The chef shook her head and said, "No, it wasn't me. I didn't do it." She quickly went on her knees and began to beg. "I promise you, sir, I didn't do it." "Shut up," Jun-pyo yelled. "Not only am I going to punish you, but I'm going to punish your accomplice too." Jun-pyo recalled the recovered footage he received earlier. He watched how the chef had gotten into his room while he was in the bathroom and how she came out with the jade bracelet in her hand. Afterward, Irene left her room and walked towards his room while the chef ran into Irene's bedroom with the necklace in her hand, but came out without it. He felt really bad thinking about how Irene had been accused, and when he went back home to see her, he learned she had gone home. Soon, another officer approached one of the guards and handcuffed him as well. The guard didn't say anything as he knew he was guilty, and he knew that Jun-pyo must have found out the truth. "Take them away," Jun-pyo ordered. "And as for her, she should be dealt with. Do not show any mercy." All the servants were surprised at the turnout of events, but Irene was the most shocked. She still could not believe it. At this time, she had guessed that the person who framed her was the housekeeper because of her obvious hostility towards her. However, the chef had acted like her friend and even told her that she believed in her. She kept staring with surprise on her face until everyone dispersed. Seeing that Jun-pyo was still standing there, she turned around and went into her room. While in her room, she decided to take her bath again. She had been injured while she went to her father's house, and her clothes had become dirty as well. After taking her bath, she changed into a fresh set of clothes and sat on her bed, still trying to wrap her head around the reason why Suwa could have framed her. She had never done anything wrong to her, and she had only just been in the house for more than one day. At this point, she heard a knock on the door and said, "Come in." The door was opened, and Jun-pyo was the one who came in. She quickly got up and said, "Sir." Jun-pyo said, "Irene, regarding what happened, don't think so much about it. Some people are just full of shit. You must have been really startled." "Sorry." Irene kept silent, not knowing what to say. "And the gift you gave me, I like it," Jun-pyo added. "Thank you very much for everything," Irene replied. "I also have a gift for you." Jun-pyo revealed his hand, which was hiding behind his back, and presented a bag to her. Irene didn't know what was inside, but she took the bag from him and said, "Thank you, sir." She opened the bag and noticed that he had gotten her a phone and a laptop. She gasped in surprise. "You got me a phone?" He nodded. "Yeah, I figured you needed one since I noticed you didn't have a phone. And there's a SIM too, also a laptop, so you can keep up with what is going on, especially now since you're now into showbiz." Irene smiled. "Thank you so much, sir." Seeing how beautiful she looked while she smiled, Jun-pyo's heart began to race. "Get a grip on your emotions, Jun-pyo. Don't make a fool of yourself," he said inwardly. Afraid that he was going to embarrass himself in front of Irene, Jun-pyo turned and left the room. Irene felt over the moon. She still could not believe that she had gotten a phone and a laptop. Mr. Jun-pyo was really such a nice man. She spent the next 2 hours trying to customize the phone and set up everything. After setting up the phone, The first thing she was interested in seeing was a video of her performance. She found it online after searching for it and watched it over and over again, still finding it difficult to believe that she was the one performing. "Wow," she said. Unknown to her at this time, Jun-pyo was also in his room watching the video. Although he had been in the audience, he still saved the video when he saw it online. Each time he watched it, his face curved into a smile, and it gave him a good feeling. While he was having fun looking at Irene's performance, he got a call from his friend. When he picked it up, his friend said, "What's going on with you, Jun-pyo? I've been in your office for more than an hour. It was meant to be a surprise, and you're nowhere to be found. I'm leaving. Why would you go to my office when you know I'm a busy man?" "Oh, come on. I asked your assistant earlier in the day, and he told me you have a lot to do in the office." "You mean Ji-hoon? How come he never mentioned it to me?" "Now, don't go taking out your anger on him. I asked him not to say anything." "He should be more loyal to me," Jun-pyo said. "Come on, I'm just pulling your leg. I didn't have a conversation with Ji-hoon. I just thought you would be at the office. I need to speak to you." "Well, if you need to speak to me, you have my number." "Oh, that's why I'm calling you," his friend said. "Okay, fine, I'll be right there." Jun-pyo, who had thought he would spend most of his day at home since Irene was also at home, got up and got dressed. Meanwhile, Irene recalled the moment the cook had been arrested and said, "No, there has to be a reason. She can't just accuse me for no reason. I need to find out why." She didn't know how else she was going to find out because the cook had been arrested. The only way she could think of was to ask Jun-pyo. She hesitated as the last thing she wanted was to upset him, seeing that he wasn't upset with her and he was treating her well. She was very careful, but she still wanted to know. So, she came out of her room to search for him, to go to his room, so she could ask him. However, at that moment, she saw him coming out, and he had changed his clothes, which indicated that he was leaving for work. "Excuse me, sir," she said. Jun-pyo stopped and stared at her. "Yes? I want to ask for a favor." "Go on. I'd like to find out from the cook why she framed me. No matter how I think about it, we've not had any altercation. As a matter of fact, she has been my only friend in this house. I still don't understand what must have happened. I'd really like to find out." "Well, she's in police custody. If you want to go to the station, I can drop you off. It's on my way. If you would, drop me off." Thank you, sir." "Come on, let's go," Jun-pyo said. They got outside, and both sat at the back of the car while Jun-pyo's driver drove. When they got to the station, Irene came down, and Jun-pyo also did. He stood outside the station and called an officer using his phone. When the officer came out, he said, "Give her access to the cook. Let her find out whatever she wants to." Turning to stare at Irene, he asked, "Will you be able to make your way back?" "Yes, sir," Irene replied. "All right." After that, he got into the car, and the driver drove away. The officer led Irene into the station, and she was taken to the room where the cook was kept. When she got there, she could see that the cook was already in tears. She didn't know what they had done to her, but what she cared about at this point was to find out the truth. She took the seat opposite her and said, "I don't want to judge you for what you did. I just want to know why. There's no bad blood between us. I still can't wrap my head around what happened, because you were the last person I expected to do such a thing to me. Why did you frame me for theft?" "I made a mistake," the chef replied. "I was jealous, and I let my jealousy get the best of me." "You were jealous of me? I don't get it." "Why?" "Because of Mr. Jun-pyo," the chef replied. "Mr. Jun-pyo?" Irene was surprised. "Don't pretend to be innocent." Sua sneered. "Come on, we both know what's going on here." "And what's going on?" Irene asked. "You were brought to the house to be a domestic staff, but what happened? That same night, you became a star girl, and now Mr. Jun-pyo wants to make you a star. It couldn't be more obvious that something is going on between the both of you." He only looks at you. He wants everything about you to be perfect, and he wants you to be happy at all times. Even when all evidence pointed at you as the culprit, he did not get you arrested. However, he did not hesitate to arrest me. What does that tell you? Are you saying you tried to frame me because you thought Mr. Jun-pyo and I are in a relationship? I didn't think, Irene. I'm not blind. I knew. I've worked for Mr. Jun-pyo for 7 years, and I know there are only 2 people he cares about, and those 2 are practically family to him. But you, why the special treatment? Most importantly, why a black woman? 7 years. Irene was surprised by the fact that Soo-ah could betray someone she had served for 7 years. Yes, I'm the oldest staff in his house, so I know what I'm saying. This was my only chance of getting you out of the way. I had no other choice. I wanted him to notice me and kick you out of his house. This doesn't make any sense, Irene replied. Mr. Jun-pyo merely feels sorry for me. He's just helping me because he believes that I'm talented. Oh, please. There are so many other talented people in the world. Why didn't he help them? Why you, Irene? Stop pretending. We both know the truth here. Irene got up, not wanting to listen to Soo-ah's words as she felt they were just senseless excuses. However, when she walked outside the station, she stopped and pondered over everything Soo-ah said. Her heart began to race as she wondered, could Mr. Jun-pyo really have feelings for me? After leaving the police station, Irene went back to Jun-pyo's home. She remained in the room, thinking about everything Soo-ah had told her. In the end, she told herself not to pay attention to such nonsense. It was probably an excuse to justify her wrongs. When Jun-pyo got back home, he went straight to his room without stopping to ask Irene about her meeting with Soo-ah. When it was morning, Irene woke up and checked her mail. She knew that the information from Star Entertainment Agency would arrive on that day, but she didn't know the time. However, she decided to still check her mail, and when she did, she saw that a mail had been sent, citing her as one of the candidates who had been selected. She got up and screamed, jumping for joy. I can't believe it, I can't believe this, she exclaimed. She wanted to hurry to Jun-pyo to tell him the good news she had received, but she realized that she hadn't taken her bath. So she rushed to the bathroom, took her bath, brushed her teeth, and put on something nice before rushing to Jun-pyo's room. When she got there, she knocked on the door and he asked, "Who's there?" "It's Irene, sir," she replied. "Come in," he said. She opened the door and went in. The moment she did, she realized that Jun-pyo was tying only a towel around his waist. She gasped and instantly turned. "I'm sorry, sir," she said. Jun-pyo smiled. "So, why were you looking for me?" "I just wanted to tell you that I got a mail from Star Entertainment Agency, and I made it. I made it to the top 2. "Really? That is such amazing news," Jun-pyo said. "You know, I did not have any doubt that you'd be among the top 2. You were very impressive, Irene." "Thank you very much, sir." "Okay, so just wait for me. I'll drop you off on my way to work so you can get to the agency and find out what is expected of you." "Thank you very much, sir," Irene said before going out of the room. As she went back to her room, she quickly changed her outfit, came out, and waited for Jun-pyo. A few minutes later, he came out, ready to leave for work. She followed behind him and got into his car. He was the one who drove, but Irene did not bother to ask him why. While Jun-pyo was driving, he got a call from his best friend, Taeyong. After the call ended, he stared at Irene apologetically and said, "I am sorry, but I will have to make a detour. I just need to do something in my office. I won't take long. Once I'm done, I'll take you to the agency." "No problem, sir," Irene replied. Once they got to his company, he said to her, "Wait in the car for me, I'll be right back." The moment he came out of the car, he began making his way to his office while Irene observed how majestic the building looked and was impressed. Opening the door of the car, she came down and began to look around in awe. Meanwhile, Jun-pyo bumped into his friend, Taeyong, at the door and stopped. I was already on my way down, Taeyong said. I mean, when did you start coming so late to work? It doesn't matter. You said you wanted to give me the drive. Jun-pyo replied. Yes, here it is, Taeyong said, handing a flash drive to Jun-pyo. Thank you, Jun-pyo said. I have a lot to do now, let's talk later. As he turned and began walking toward his car, Taeyong walked beside him and said, Ditching your friends so early in the morning? What happened to your driver, by the way? I gave him a 1-month leave, Jun-pyo said with a smile on his face. That's strange, it's unlike you. I mean, you love bossing him around. Jun-pyo smiled as he got closer to the car. He noticed Irene standing outside and smiled at her. Taeyong also noticed her and walked closer to her, saying, Hi, you must be Irene. Am I right? Irene was surprised since she hadn't met him before. From the way he was dressed, she knew he was someone very wealthy. She nodded, Yes. Nice to meet you, sir. Oh, come on, just call me Taeyong. You look very beautiful, and I think now I understand why someone did what they did. I am Jun-pyo's best friend, by the way. Jun-pyo glared at Taeyong before telling Irene. Get in, Irene. Let's go. Irene got into the car, and Jun-pyo did as well. Bye, Irene, Taeyong said. Bye, Taeyong, Irene replied. On their way to Star Entertainment, Jun-pyo suddenly had a scowl on his face. The moment they arrived, Irene wanted to come down, but he said, Hold on, Irene. You don't need to call me sir, just call me Jun-pyo. I cannot do that, Irene replied. It will be very disrespectful. Jun-pyo sighed. Listen, I don't like being called sir. But that's what everyone calls you, Irene replied. Right, but I said you shouldn't call me sir, you can just call me Jun-pyo. He insisted. No, sir. How can I call you by your name? Okay, I can call you Mr. Jun-pyo. Jun-pyo shrugged. Okay, well that's good enough. Give me a call once you're done, okay? I'll do just that, sir. Sorry, Mr. Jun-pyo, she replied. Afterward, she came down from the car and went into the agency. Jun-pyo was about to drive off when he spotted someone coming out of a car that had just driven into the agency. He could easily recognize her because she was Irene's supposed sister, and her father was the driver. The moment they came down from the car, Minji's father quickly recognized Jun-pyo, who had wound down his window. He rushed towards Jun-pyo's car and said, Good morning, Mr. Jun-pyo. Jun-pyo wore his shades, wound up his window, and drove out without giving Dae-young a reply. As Jun-pyo drove away, Minji hurried to her father's side and asked, Who is that man? And why was he so rude to you? Rude? Don't you know who that is? That's Mr. Jun-pyo. He's a living legend. Her father replied. Mr. Jun-pyo? He was the one. Wow! I didn't get a better look at him. I've always wondered if he looks the same as he does in pictures. Forget about him. I should be heading off to work now. Take care of yourself, and if anything comes up, let me know. Dae-young said. Right at this point, a young girl ran up to Minji and said, Here, Miss Minji. This is the water you ordered. Minji took the water from her and said, You were too slow just now. Remember that I'll be a superstar very soon. If you behave well, I won't need to fire you in the future. Yes, ma'am, the girl replied. Afterward, they went into the agency as well. Minji walked haughtily into the director's office. She saw someone sitting on a chair and instantly recognized her from the back of her head. There was no one else in the office, and it seemed the director had not yet arrived. Irene even crossed her leg and was sitting so gracefully. You! Minji became angry. The moment Irene heard Minji's voice, she recognized her. She didn't know why Minji was selected because she believed there were many more capable girls than her. However, she turned, merely glanced at Minji, and turned her face away from her, not wanting to waste her time on her. However, this upset Minji, who said to her assistant, Hey one, make her get up right now. The assistant walked closer to Irene and politely said, Please, can you please get up? You idiot, Minji cursed. Is that how to do it? Learn today how to treat a dog. As she spoke, Minji grabbed Irene by her hair and began to pull her up from the chair. Irene cried out in pain, and as she turned, she also held Minji's hair and began to drag it. They were both screaming until Minji couldn't bear the pain anymore and let go of Irene's hair. After she did, Irene also let go of her hair. After Irene let her go, Minji placed a hand on her head, heaving in pain while Irene tried to arrange her hair. How dare you? Minji moved closer and wanted to slap Irene, but the latter caught her hand, flung it away, and rather slapped her. The slap was so intense and unexpected that it sent Minji stumbling backward. At this point, the director had just entered the office, and Minji ended up falling into his arms. Thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so as to get notified when we drop new stories. Like and share to family and friends, and finally tell us where you're watching from in the comment section, and we will see you in our next video.